There is a theory that basically Emily is Lucifer's daughter, which could be the truth, but for this scenario, we're just gonna say that she is. And if she ends up being one later on, then well, I guess I'm kind of dumb. Anyway, in this alternate timeline, Emily would be Lucifer's daughter, and Lucifer would want his daughter back. As she was only 3 years old, Lucifer would sneak up into heaven. See, in this timeline, Sarah was Emily's mother. As Lucifer snooked to heaven, suddenly Sarah would look at him as Lucifer tried to sneak in and grab her.
Thought he could sneak in easily, but Sarah caught him. As he looked at Sarah, ready to fight, Sarah would say, "Take her." He would say, "What? I'm ashamed of what we did. We had an amazing fling, and I liked you, even before you went to hell, but no more. And I can't look at her anymore. I haven't told anyone about her. She looks a lot like a seraphim." She would then snap her fingers and cast a spell, making her look a lot more like Charlie. As Lucifer would come down with Emily, Emily and Charlie would be raised together. In this alternate timeline, Lilith left shortly after giving birth to Charlie, and now Lucifer had to be a single parent to both. Lucifer would try his best to raise Emily and Charlie together, but it wasn't easy.
For the king of hell himself, running a family was, well, it was difficult. Lucifer himself took a lot of time to take care of Emily, to take care of Charlie, but he raised them both, and even though he was depressed, he always tried his best. Lilith would never take Charlie away from Lucifer, and their relationship would never be hurt, and Emily loved her dad, and she never figured out the truth. Emily and Charlie would be very similar in personalities. Of course, they would be a bit different. Charlie wanted to redeem sinners and focused on that, while Emily wanted to focus on the political side. One day, they were both grown up. As Charlie left, Emily would talk to Lucifer.
As Emily was, well, she wanted to get more involved in politics. She loved her father, and she understood why he didn't want to get involved. After all, hell can be depression. But he was the king of hell. Emily would talk to him, and Lucifer would say, "What's up? Do you want to see my rubber ducky collection? I got a new one. One that breathes fire." As Lucifer showed it to Emily, Emily would laugh and say, "No, Dad, I have something else I want to talk about."
So, Lucifer and Emily would talk. Lucifer didn't want Emily to get involved in politics. Like in the real world, one person had all the power and made everyone else suffer, or nothing ever got done, and always went to a halt. And both sides became polarized over time. In every place, in every history, there was times of division and times of people against each other, or times where one person controlled everyone else. Politics was truly despicable. It was truly a despair, and Lucifer hated it. That's why he stopped getting involved. That's why the ringleaders controlled so much of their own rings. But Lucifer would say, "Are you sure?" As Emily would say, "Yes." Lucifer would sigh and say, "All right, there's a big meeting going on with Satan. I'm not going, but you can go." Emily would say thank you as she left to go to the meeting. As Lucifer would reluctantly agree, Emily would go to the meeting with Satan. As Emily and Satan would talk, Satan would try to manipulate Emily, try to pretend like Lucifer was his best friend. As they were smiling, Emily would say, "That's funny, I thought Lucifer didn't like you." Satan would say, "What?" As then, Emily would smirk and say, "You heard me. You manipulate the others to get your way. You act like a big boss over here, but that won't work on me." Satan wanted to crush Emily, and he probably could, but Lucifer wouldn't like that, and it would not end well for him. So he would sigh and say, "You'll regret this," as then he would walk off. As the meeting would continue, Emily would sit in for Lucifer, and she would start to get involved in politics, and she would do very well. As Emily would improve things slightly, the rings would get better help, and each ring was against each other like a cold war, and Satan gathered them all up to make decisions for them with voting. As Satan acted like the uneffective leader when they're around, but when he was gone, they were even against him. Every side was against each other. Emily brought this together and managed to do things better, but it was still a problem, and she couldn't fix it all by herself, but she tried, and hell slightly improved a bit, until she was horrified to learn that Lucifer agreed to the exorcism. Emily, angry, would go to Lucifer's house and knock on the door. As he opened it, he would say, "Hey, daughter," as then she slapped him. As
Lucifer and Emily would talk. Emily was angry. Usually she was happy with Lucifer. She loved her father, and she was always happy to see him, but she was angry this time. Like pissed, as she would say, "How could you allow this? How could you slaughter those poor souls? How can you go down like that and just get rid of them like that?" As then she would start to sing. Lucifer would sing too, pleading, saying that it was overpopulated, that he had to do something. Emily would then storm off, as she would completely cut contact. Emily would then cut ties, as she wouldn't talk for Lucifer for years. Charlie still would, but Emily was angry. Emily would still get involved with politics of hell, but her anger would push her away, as it seemed like no one wanted to boycott the exorcism. It seemed like nobody cared. As Emily was sitting down one day, as she would see her sister's commercial for the Has-Been Hotel, and she was excited that someone, at least somebody, was trying to make a change. Whenever Emily tried to get a meeting with heaven, it was boycotted for some reason, because Lucifer didn't want her to know the truth, that Sarah was her mother. As then Emily would go to the hotel, excited about Charlie's vision. As Emily knocked on Charlie's door, she opened it and said, "Sis, it's Ben." Charlie would then get a huge hug from Emily and say, "Finally, someone's trying to change things. I've been trying for so long, but I get barred every time. The bureaucrats here hate everything, so you taking matters into your own hands? That's truly beautiful." Emily would give a big speech and start to sing. Charlie was excited, but also a bit nervous. In this timeline, Emily would show up instead of Alistair. As then, Emily would try to tighten things up and start to clean things, as she would hire servants to do so. As the Has-Been Hotel was open for business, she would then talk to Angel, as Angel wasn't that interested. As in weeks would pass, as Emily would try to make things top shape.
As a perfectionist, but working on people in therapy, you cannot be a perfectionist. Everyone has their flaws. And therapy is about accepting your flaws and working to lessen them, but not truly getting rid of them, because you are still a person. But Emily didn't get that. And even though she helped out a lot, she could be a bit much for Charlie. As Charlie and Emily would talk about this, Emily would try to mellow out. As Charlie had a meeting with Adam, Emily would beg to go along. As Charlie would bring Emily there, things would go the same as in canon until they left, and Adam would say, "Oh my God, is that her?" Luke would say, "Yes, sir. We were ordered to make sure she doesn't see her." And say see, not no. As in Luke would say, "What are you planning?" I have an idea." As Emily was walking away one night, Adam would tap on her shoulder. She looked, she would say, "Adam, what do you want? Are you here to exterminate us?" Adam would say, "Yes, but not today. I have evidence." As Adam would hand her pictures and documents. Emily looked, there were pictures and files here, but it looked nothing like her. She would say, "This isn't me," as Adam would suddenly cast away the spell, and Emily would look like she normally does. Emily would be furious as she would go to Lucifer's home. Lucifer would be making a ducky sculpture. As then Emily barged in, Lucifer would say, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry about..." Suddenly Emily would say, "You took me, didn't you?" "Well, I am still your father, and you gave me a home. You raised me when Sarah didn't want to, but you lied to me. You never mentioned Mom. I thought I was made from magic. I can't do this anymore." Lucifer would say, "What do you mean?" Then look at Lucifer. Lucifer looked at her, and as he said, "What do you mean by that? You're not going to see me." As Emily would walk out, Lucifer would say, "No, no," as Emily left. Emily would eventually reconcile with Lucifer, but for a while she would go off and isolate herself and miss out on the entire season 1. Lucifer would take her place and help Charlie at the hotel, just to impress Emily, hoping she would come back. Eventually Emily would, though, and Adam's little plan worked to disrupt season 1. And even though Emily had bad relations with her father, eventually it would be patched up. And that's going to leave things off. Thank you so much for suggesting this idea. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with all your friends, and keep on suggesting. You too can be picked in this video. Also, thank you so much. I just hit 8K recently, which for me is a big deal. My channel is a year old, and in a year we managed to get 8,000 of you. All right, that's like more people live there than in my town. I do live in a pretty small town, but yeah, 8,000 is a lot of people, you know what I mean? And I like to thank each and every one of you. I mean, a lot of people probably subscribe and just stop watching and forget, Because those are channels I'm subscribed to. I don't even watch that much anymore, to be honest with you. But I am very autistic and ADHD, so what happens is I become obsessed with something for like a few months, and then I lose complete interest, which is hard to do when you're a what if channel. And that is why my what ifs kind of drag on a little bit. That's also why I hope I can diversify a bit more in the future. I also can't wait for the Has Been Season 2. When that comes, Season 2. Not gonna lie, my ADHD is kind of getting hard to focus on Has Been Hotel. I might have to start making other shows. But I know for a fact that when Season 2 comes out, it will get back on it. And maybe I can make more series and continue other ones and things of that nature. I'm hoping that when it does come out, I can keep it rolling. Because the hard thing about this is whenever I make a series, I always want to finish it. But when the series that you're making the series on, I said series a lot, isn't finished, you have to end it off early, which is the big trade-off and is the main reason that the vast majority of YouTubers, when they do what if series, wait for the series to be finished to continue it on. But you know me, I'm like, I gotta finish it, you know what I mean? When I make a series, it has to stop eventually. So yeah, that's me. And that's why I have so many movies. I think there's one series I didn't finish, and that was, and I wasn't even a series, I just didn't continue it after the first episode. Which is something about Vader, it like only got 400 views, and this is back when all my videos were getting like tons and tons, so I was just like, I'm not continuing it. But yeah, I always think about going back to it, or deleting it, or forgetting about it that way. You know, it's not the one thing I didn't continue, but yeah. For the vast majority of part, when I start a series, I usually finish it, and that's why I have so many movies. I have a whole playlist called What If Movies. This is when I compile all my, videos from a series and put it together, which I think is a very good idea. So yeah, if you want to watch one of my long videos, just go over there. And do you guys prefer series or do you prefer one-shot videos? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. It means the world to me. Peace out.